OSG, OSG, change the game. Come together, bringing leaders, we don't play. Make a difference, being different, switching lanes. OSG, OSG, change the game.
Amadeus is one of them young men who used to run up in schools such as PS 132, Garrett A. Morgan, with where Principal Dr. Riley works and she leads. And he was one of those people who actually used to go get food. So come on, Amadeus, talk to us, man.
Oh no, it definitely, it definitely matters. I faithfully, as a kid, went to, those different schools. I went to 132. I went to CS 55. I went to PS 110. I went to PS 148. And those are all of the schools that surround, where I'm from, 169th and Washington. So like my mom would faithfully send us there, to go get lunch every day in the summer. So she didn't have to cook. She didn't have to put nothing together. And sometimes it was just tough times where she may not have had the finances in order, for us to have lunch in the house. And free lunch, not only just saved us, but saved most of the the families in the communities. And for me and my family, I've never been embarrassed. Like I was never one of those kids that would be afraid to do something because it didn't feel cool or it would be frowned upon. And like I was in there. My favorite joint was the fish with the cheese inside. Like that was one of the top lunches, the fish with the cheese inside. Of course, pizza was fire. And you take the salad. Now that I'm older, I know what the salad had and what the dressing was. Now what it is now. Back then I didn't know. It was just tasted tangy. So I just take the salad, put it on the top of the square pizza, and eat the pizza. You know what I'm saying? So listen, no shame in my game. So trust me, kids can act like it does. They can act like, they're too embarrassed and they don't want that, or it ain't swaggy to do it, or it ain't a good look, man. But there's kids that's really hungry, man, that can care less what, somebody else has to say, man. They need to eat, so I really support, and shout out to Dr. Johnson for being amazing.
I got a chance to check out a post today, Miss Dr. Asia Johnson. And y'all doing some big things, feeding not only your kids, but the community as well. So talk to us real quick. What's going on over there at Longwood Prep?
Yeah, we had 2 years ago, we had put in a request to get this campus pantry grant. The problem is that we thought we weren't going to get it because there is no campus. Like it's just our school and a middle school that's on site. So we put in a request for the food bank to apply to get this campus pantry grant. Now, mind you, my school is small. We only have 350 students in the school, and the grant was like $15,000. I was like, shoot, man, we can feed people with $15,000 for this grant with the food bank. But we were nervous that we wouldn't have enough families that would want to take advantage, and then they would cancel our grant altogether because we weren't spending it fast enough. So we just started opening it up to people in the community. We there's other schools in the building. There's a charter school in the building, and technically we're not supposed to give to other schools, but we were like, look, we have food available. We thought because it was a name brand that a lot of people wouldn't be interested because everything in there doesn't have a brand. But I'm like, I remember growing up, I didn't have a pantry in our school.
I think one place we have to start is what our profile looks like. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. I'm going to take you through some of the interesting parts here. Oh, let's see. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure you do that right now.
Thanks. And I'll just convince you to do, hopefully, a couple of things here. I am in sales, so hopefully I can sell you on the exciting world that is LinkedIn. This is my profile really quick, and I just want you guys to think about a few things. I'm going to take you through this, and then I'll pause to see if you guys have any questions or want to navigate anywhere else. First thing I would tell you is make sure you've got a picture on your profile. What you really want to be mindful of with your picture here is one, just think about it like your dating profile. We want this to be recent. We want to see who you are. We want to make sure it's not you and 17 groomsmen in your, wedding party. It should be just who you are. Professional attire, something that shows like your head, neck, and shoulders is totally fine. I am literally standing in front of a tree in my front yard. That's as exciting and fancy as it got. You can do the same thing, upload it from your phone, you're good to go. But what I would tell you here is just click on your picture real quick. what'll pop up here is this guy here, and it'll show you who can see your picture. And why I want you to pay attention to this is if I click on this, if you have your connection selected, that means that if someone isn't connected to you, they won't be able to see your picture. And having a visible picture will significantly increase the chances that someone will click on your profile, they'll look around, they'll try to figure out who you are. Plus, it humanizes you. They can see who you are. They can see your smiling face, hopefully your smiling face, but they get a chance to see who you are, right? And it helps build that instant connection and rapport. So make sure there's a recent picture 4 or 5 years ago, at the very least, and then make sure that your settings are set to public, which means anyone, whether they have a LinkedIn profile or not, will be able to see your picture here. Now, if you prefer to be a little bit more private, you can do all LinkedIn members, but that's still 800 million people that are going to get to see your picture. So it's not all that more private, but either way, make sure that's there. Now, one other thing, you're going to see all this jazz here, and there's a lot of words. And this is what we call our headline. This is who you are. And what I think people do here is they make the mistake of putting their title. So somebody might say, you know, head of marketing or sales associate or principal at, and I think that's amazing. Oh, can you let that person in? Okay, great, thanks. So I think that's fine, but I think the other thing you want to think about is what do you do? What challenge do you solve? What do you do every day? What is it that takes up your time, right? When you think about the core role that you serve, what is it that you do? And I think what's great here is you can also be inspirational, right? So you can talk about how you're changing our minds, how you're teaching our future, how whatever it is that you do when you really think about the core and base of your job as an educator. I think this is also a great place to add your credentials. So if you happen to be a new doctoral candidate, or actually, I guess not a candidate anymore, but a doctor, feel free to throw that in, right? Celebrate that. So if you have any other accolades, if you have, let's say, a project management degree or certification or something like that, great opportunity to put something like that, PMP or your doctoral degree, anything, your MBA, all that great stuff can go there, because it's kind of it's the headline, right? It's the front page news. Here's who I am, here's what I do, and here's what I'm passionate about.
So I want you to be able to just explain to us networking, right? And
Yeah.
we're talking about 800 million people, right? We're talking about 800 million people. How exactly can we wrap our mind around how we've minimized the impact that we're making in the world by just simply staying in places such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and things like that, and not really putting that kind of energy into LinkedIn?
But I like Alice.
Oh, I think you will find your tribe so quickly. And there is a small group, right? Like it's a small but growing group of teachers who are starting to see the value of this platform. So I would say first and foremost, start connecting with your fellow educators. Come into this platform. You can do a search, right? And look for that title, look for principal, look for educator. You can also do something like this, like here, let's look. Hopefully I spelled it correctly. You guys are going to kill me if I don't. And so let's see, and then I'm going to show you all filters. Just look up here at the top, and you can start to do these searches here and just look for specifically within school districts, look for educators, look for that as a keyword, look for people in your community that are also educators and are on LinkedIn, right? Look for people who have active profiles like this, right? It's well filled out. We can see their pictures, you know, it looks like they have good connections, like at least a good volume, and start to connect with those people. And even just say, I'm new to LinkedIn, I'm trying to expand my presence here, would love to connect with you and see your content. Really, really easy way to connect. And if I just let's look at this one person, I realize he's not an educator. By the way, you're going to see this follow button sometimes. Just pop over here to more, click connect. It's gonna, are you sure? Don't you just want to follow him? And you're gonna be like, no, I want to connect with them. Hit connect, add a note, and type that in. I'm an educator. I'm new to LinkedIn. I'm trying to expand my network and build it. I would love to connect with you and be able to see any content you share. Easy as that. And I think what you can think of here is take a look. I'm going to pop over. Actually, let me pop back to my feed. Your feed, just like Instagram, just like Facebook, just like Twitter, is made up of people that you follow, right? Or we know, especially on Twitter, people that retweet each other, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the kind of stuff that you can see on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will have some kind of educational, inspirational, stand up for what I believe in corporate America, talking about diversity, inclusion, talking about, you will see the feed in March filled with women celebrating Women's History Month. But even things like this, like today, LinkedIn was a hotbed for talking about what's going on, unfortunately, in Ukraine and everything that's going on there, and giving a voice to people to say, this is what I believe, this is who I stand with, right? And just using this as a facility for us to get together and build camaraderie around mutual values. I think, again, for you, like when I think about using LinkedIn, mine is to educate. It is there's a very small percentage for me where I'm doing anything to self-promote, but this is me educating. This is a free platform that I can give my advice, my sales tactics, my everything to, and let people learn from me. Let people be inspired by what I've done, by my story, or by things that I might say.
Black Facts actually grew organically. But the interesting thing is that our presence on Instagram, where we have like 85,000 followers, and on Facebook, maybe 120,000 followers in a Facebook group and such, has always been there. So we had a huge social media reach, but that didn't influence our ability to connect with corporations and people of influence. What it did was it allowed people to be popular. If we happened to post something that was popular on Facebook, it would get a lot of responses, or controversial, because it seems that Facebook's formula, anytime you post anything about a Black person, it's political, so they ban it. So and all we're doing is posting Black historical content. But when we got on LinkedIn, and I started with my personal LinkedIn page, I have like 13,000 followers or more on LinkedIn, because I just happened to continuously network on the platform. But I didn't realize the power of it until Black Facts as a brand began to grow. And then people started connecting Dale the person with Black Facts the entity. And when we started doing our social media posts, we now post everything not just on Dale Dowdy's page, but on the Black Facts page itself, because we wanted to build up that brand. And it is amazing. I had posted something in the chat, but literally, I make more professional connections and more business connections and more people that are interested in sponsoring or care about what we're doing on LinkedIn than I've ever done on Facebook, even though we had a much larger following on Facebook and a much larger following on Instagram. I used to do another project called Barbink, which was about barbershop incubator. It was a tech project, and we used to teach barbers about social media. We used to say, likes don't equal money. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter, you can get likes just by shaking your booty and, putting a half-naked picture of yourself up there, or not even your own, just other people's. But that does not necessarily translate into dollars. What I have found is that while we always, share everything on all of the social media platforms. The reality is, if we are trying to grow as a business, and the way I found Dennis and the way I got in touch with some of the initial principles that we started introducing Black Facts to, because for years, all we were doing was sharing Black history because we thought it was important. And it wasn't until this year that we actually started, promoting an actual product, the Black historical and cultural videos, because we were the Netflix of Black history videos. And when we started posting those videos on LinkedIn, because they're social media ready, they're only like 3 minutes long. So if you put something too long, you can't post it. But shorter videos, you put them on LinkedIn, oh my goodness. I mean, people respond to that. And it is the power of the video that actually transformed what Black Facts was all about.